First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh is who this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is who this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'Hashem means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the outer bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, I wanted to go into how famine is slowly creeping up. Okay, and the reason I'm going into this is because of eggs. Okay, and this actually happened to me. I had a testimony in real life, which pretty much is that the other day I was going to a local convenience store around me, and I see that in the egg section on the door it says maximum limit 2 cartons per person. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I went to another spot and the same thing, right? They have a limit on how many eggs you can get. And the reason why, companies do that is so that, hey, somebody doesn't come in and just buy everything and everybody's left with nothing, right? They pretty much ration the food. But the only reason that's happening is because there's not a giant supply of eggs. Eggs are low right now. So that right there in itself is famine, right? Famine is, the actual definition is when there is a low supply of food. Okay, not just no food, but there's a low supply. My computer is being slow right now. It says, a famine is defined as the most severe kind of hunger crisis. It is very rare, but when it does occur, it means that there is an extreme shortage of food and several children and adults within a certain area are dying of hunger on a daily basis. Right, so scarcity of food. And it can be caused by several possible factors, including but not limited to war, natural disasters, crop failure, widespread poverty, and economic catastrophe or government policies. Okay, and what we're seeing right now is supposedly because of the bird flu. So that would fall under a natural disaster. Okay, so it says, egg prices crack a new record. Blame bird flu and regulations. The average price for a dozen grade A eggs hit $4.95 in January 2025, breaking the previous record of $4.82 from 2023. Why so expensive? A bird flu outbreak wiped out 20 million hens in late 2024, and new cage-free egg laws are making production costlier. Right, and that's going into government policies. It says, for perspective, January 2022, 1.93 per dozen, June 2024, 272 per dozen, January 2025, 495 per dozen. Right, so we've seen pretty much a double in price in eggs. It says it takes 5 months for a hen to mature, so don't expect prices to drop anytime soon. Scrambled eggs might cost more than your rent soon. That's actually the truth. Okay, this guy says that as a joke, but soon that's going to be the truth. Right, because when you go into Revelation chapter 6 and you read about the seal that dealt with famine, start at verse 5, it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, and when you go into the comparison of how much food that is for the currency, it's a drastic difference. Bible translation that actually goes into it is the NLT. It says, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the olive oil and wine. Right, so an entire day of working. Okay, and I always think about some gruesome work. Imagine all these people out here working in these meat packaging plants, JBS, these construction workers working in the sun all day. Imagine doing that all day, and all you get is enough money to buy a loaf. And all those people working those construction jobs, mainly Issachar, so-called Mexicans, They got big families. 4 or 5 kids. So, and when you go and split that loaf of bread in between 5 people, all you're left with is a slice. Now, that's what's coming. Okay, is working an entire day for a slice, nothing, and that's famine. And what we're seeing is the beginning of it. Okay, it's not gonna go down. The prices of eggs, of things in general, it's not gonna go down. Everybody thinks that Trump is gonna make America again, and bring everything to how it was before 2020, and everything's gonna be chilling. But that's that's nothing but further from the truth. That's not gonna happen at all. Because when you go and read Jeremiah chapter 50, if I remember correctly, or 51, it talks about how we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed, right? Forsake her, right? So, no matter what, this place has been prophesied to go down. And no laws, legislations, policies, nothing is going to make it come back. So this is the beginning. And the craziest thing is that the men of Great Millstone have been going into this, for over 30 plus years now, prophesying how America was going to go down. That's why Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 9, behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Right? So, we've been know that this is coming. This is not a surprise to us when we see earthquakes hitting everywhere, when we see World War III starting to escalate. This is not surprising, right? But to the modern American, they're shook. They're thinking, why would the government want to go to war? Why? Why are they doing this? Why? The reason why is because the Lord says so. It's prophesied that, this is going to happen. And that's what's really going to differentiate the elect from everybody else out here, is that the elect, they're going to know what's going on, and that's going to lead to having a calm mindset. That's going to lead to having confidence in the Lord when everything goes down. That's why it says a man shall be worth more than fine gold, because that man, when everybody is scared, panicking, having fear, he's going to be calm, cool, and collected. And that's going to be true gold in that day, is a calm mind. Right? Because if you have a calm mind, that means that you know something everybody else doesn't know. Okay, something you learn. Okay, when you look at all these leaders, influential, motivational speakers, is they go that always when you're always leading a group, the leader has to be pretty much the rock. The leader has to be the foundation. The example. And the last thing you want to do as a leader when everything's collapsing is panic, right? Because all the people that are following you are going to look at you and think, damn, if our leader, the strongest among us, is panicking, he's fearful, then we're fucked. That's literally what they think. If the strongest guy is panicking, then, the rest of us are doomed. And that right there would just completely crumble, any hope and faith that they have. So that's why it says a man shall be worth more than fine gold. It all goes back to having that strong confidence in the Lord. Let's get this in 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. Going into, once they come out here and they start making stricter laws, you can know when they come out here and say that you can only get a pack of steak, you can only get a gallon of milk. They start putting those restrictions on other so-called major foods. That's when you're going to see people really start hitting the stores. People are going to get creative with it. And they're going to send all their family members to go get 2 packs, because technically they're not together. And they're just going to completely raid the stores, and instantly you're going to see that a full Walmart is now completely gone. And that's prophecy. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Right? And when you look at these purge movies, these end of the days movies, you find that that's exactly what happens. Once people realize shit is going down, war's coming, some disease, you see people scrambling in the stores, fighting each other, taking shit off other people's carts, killing each other, because they think that an extra pack of eggs is gonna save them, when in actuality what's gonna save you is the Lord. That's what it always goes back to, is the Lord. That's what matters. But these people don't know that. It says that hey, these people trust in the shadow of Egypt. Okay, and the shadow of Egypt is gonna lead to their own confusion. They're gonna realize that they're in an even more sore case because hey, the government doesn't give a fuck about you. No matter how much you think these presidents are doing shit for your benefit, how many times they go in there, put their hand on the Bible, rah rah rah. They don't give a fuck. That's why they always say, "Oh, we're gonna do this, this, and that." But when they're in office, they do nothing because they're not the ones in control. They're just puppets. For the higher elites, Edomites. So, see what some of the comments here are. How come there's an egg shortage, but there's plenty of chicken wings for Super Bowl Sunday? It's funny. How about all the poultry farms that were lit on fire? Right, and that's a very good point that this person brought out. Is that yes, all last year, and the year before, you had chicken farms. All of a sudden, spontaneous combustion. Let's actually search that up. Chicken farms catching. All of a sudden, you had nationwide chicken farms catching on fire. Chicken farms have caught on fire in multiple states, including Illinois, Utah, and Texas, killing millions of chickens. Okay, and when you looked at it, it was happening day after day, week after week. Right, conspiracy theory brewing over chicken farm fires because they're like, damn, thousands of fires occur at chicken farms at similar properties each year, and recent incidents are no cause for alarm. Right, what a coincidence. It's happening at the same place over and over again. The fact that it's not no coincidence. This is all a strategic planning of the elites to orchestrate a global famine. Right, because that's the thing is that they're introducing this thing by the way of gradualism. They're just not going to pull the plug instantly, and all of a sudden, hey, there's no food. Nah, this is a complicated chess match, and they're moving their pieces perfectly. So when everything falls down, there's nobody to point the finger at. There's nobody to blame. It's going to be a combination of things that leads to a famine, that leads to an economic collapse. Right? Same thing as Rome. Right? Hey, America is the reborn Roman Empire, and it's going to fall the same way. When you look at how Rome fell, they say that it was a combination of things. It didn't just fall by one key point. So the same thing is happening again. That's why they say history repeats itself. Because it's the same people coming back doing the same thing. Okay, reincarnation. Let's get one more scripture. Going into, famine. At the end of the day, the elect don't got nothing to be worried about. If we can load Psalms chapter 37 and verse 19 says, "They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied." Right, and that's going into the elect. Okay, not being ashamed in the evil time because everything we did was for a reason. Right, that's the thing is that right now the elect are suffering, the righteous are suffering. Right, because we have to be righteous in a wicked world. Right, us being righteous, that's a vexation to the wicked. They look at us like we're crazy, like we're doing the wrong thing. And a lot of brothers, they've lost jobs because their job found out what they were doing, out here preaching. A lot of brothers have been in bad situations because of the word. Right? But in that evil time, we're not going to be ashamed because at the end of the day, it all paid off. It says, "And in the days of famine, they shall be satisfied." Right? So, when there's no food, guess what? The elect are going to be fed. Because we trusted the Lord before anything even happened. And we're going to trust the Lord while everything is happening. Right? But, just think about that. Right? When everything is going down, at that point, the prophecies being right in front of you, that should boost your faith. Right? Because it's going to be finally right there. There's not a second guessing of if it's going to happen or not. No, it's right there. Right? So, your faith is going to be on another level, and that faith is going to bring forth even more miracles. Just think about having an empty pot, praying to the Lord to fill it with food, and you open it, and it's full. That's the type of shit that's going to be happening. And, a person in the world will listen to that and think, this person is crazy. Right? But that's what somebody with no faith is supposed to say. When you understand that the Lord is in control of everything, and you really understand that, you understand that nothing's impossible. Right? When you go and read about how I think it was Elijah or Elisha, pretty much same thing, right? Days of famine, and let's actually get that. That's a perfect um, history example to go into. First Kings chapter 17 and verse 4. Because this is an example of what's going to be happening, just on a greater scale. Okay? And Yahweh said that this salvation is going to top what happened in ancient Egypt. So the miracles are going to be beyond our greatest beliefs. This is 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1. It says, And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, As Yahweh God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is beyond Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the sparrows to feed thee there. So he went and did according unto the word of Yahweh, for he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Right, so that right there is a miracle. Okay, he had ravens coming and giving him food, giving him bread to survive. Now that's the type of shit that is going to be happening. And it keeps on going. It says, The word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I might drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As Yahweh thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I might go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. Right? So, this woman, a hard time famine, she was just completely done. It was her last meal. And she was preparing for it. And here it is, Elijah, came by saying, Hey, give me some of that food. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me. And after make for thee and for thy son. For thus saith Yahweh God of Israel, The barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that Yahweh sendeth rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he and her house did eat many days. And the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake by Elisha. So, that right there was a miracle. Right? They had a barrel of meal, which I'm pretty sure when you go into a meal, it's talking about oatmeal, oats. And they were eating that. They had a barrel. Every single time they put their hand, they closed it, it was regenerated. Same thing with the oil, a bottle of oil. They'd use the oil, they look back, it's full again. Now that's the type of things that are going to be happening that are inexplicable. That are going to keep us sustained, in these evil days, the day of Jacob's trouble, a time like never before seen. So oil, meal means flour, meal, flour. So there you go. Let's see what cake means. I wonder what that goes into. If my internet or my computer wasn't so slow right now, that would help. Cake. This is bugging right now. Let's see. Disc or cake of bread. Cake of hot stones, cake baked on hot stones. So it says a cake baked under hot cinders such as Orientals are still custom to make, especially when on a journey or in haste. A cake baked on hot stones, unleavened cakes. So pretty much like bread. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Famine is coming. But just remember that the elect will be covered. With that, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to elect, Shalom.